What's up, guys? It's Eric from Rare Candy Tape back with another Guardians Rising deck profile for you. This is going to be the same Lycanroc GX deck that we actually featured in our recent testing rounds video. So if you guys want to see how this decks in action, I'll be sure to put a link to that as well. And as usual, if you guys are unfamiliar with these testing rounds deck profiles that we've been covering, these are usually kind of our starting points for testing out new decks. So there might be some things in here that we can improve, but it's basically just supposed to be a starting point to start our testing from. But anyway, so here we're going to be taking a look at Lycanroc GX, one of the big new Pokemon from Guardians Rising. And since this is a Lycanroc deck, that means we are going to be playing 4 Rockruff, since that is the, basic it has to evolve from. And we are actually choosing to try out the new Rockruff here from Guardians Rising. Since its first attack has some synergy with the GX as well. So its first attack, have no idea what it's called. These are just some Japanese scans right now. But for a fighting energy, it makes so your opponent can't retreat on their next turn. So this has a little bit of synergy if we have one of the Lycanroc GX. It can strand Pokemon in the active with its ability. And then you can use this attack to make sure they can't retreat. So that's kind of the combo you can do. But honestly, the old promo Rockruff might be even better. Like I said, we're just starting to test with these, but there might be a case to be made for the other one. And then its other attack for a DCE does 30. You flip a coin. If tails, it does nothing. So this is definitely a more defensive basic than the promo one, but try them both out, see which one you guys end up liking more. But yeah, since this is about Lycanroc GX, we're playing 4 of this guy. Like I said, pretty hyped new GX from Guardians Rising, mainly for its ability Bloodthirsty Eyes. So it's basically just Lysandre. You get to switch your opponent's active with one of their bench Pokemon. So this is great because we can choose what we want to take knockouts on. We can get easy Shaymin prizes and things like that. But it's just such a powerful effect to be able to use this ability and still play a draw supporter on our turn instead of having to use a turn to Lysandre, instead of playing like a Sycamore or an N or something like that. So that's, I think, what makes this card so good. And its attacks are decent as well, but I think it's really the ability that pushes this card over the top. And so for its main attack, it has, I believe it's Claw Slash for a fighting and DCE. It is 110. Probably doesn't sound too crazy, but it's actually a pretty good number to hit for. For just 2 energy attachments, you get a 2-shot pretty much most Pokemon in the format. And of course, since this is a fighting deck, if the fighting energy you have on them is a strong energy, that means you're going to be doing 130. So pretty much, like I said, guaranteed to 2-shot anything in the format. But yeah, and then its GX move, I believe it's Dangerous Rogue GX, 50 damage times the number of bench Pokemon your opponent has. So it's kind of like the old Zoroark from Breakthrough, but on steroids. So definitely a really good one-hit knockout attack that you'll be able to use at some point in the game, hopefully. But yeah, so Lycanroc, it's a pretty solid card on its own. It has a lot going for it. The attacks are, decent, above average. Has a very strong ability. But what you pair with this guy, and we are going the route of trying out the Eeveelutions with it. And here's why. So first of all, we're going to be playing 2 of the Ancient Origins Eevee. We are not playing the Sun and Moon one because it has a 2 retreat cost, and we can't make use of its ability. And its attack is a coin flip, and yeah, so this one I feel like is just a little bit better, but honestly I don't know if the Eevee matters too much, but I think this one does make a little bit more sense in this list. But then also we're playing 1 of each of the Eeveelutions from Ancient Origins. So Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon, each one basically have the same ability. They make all of your stage 1 Pokemon and play their corresponding type. So what that means is if we get out a Flareon, for example, our Lycanrocs become part fire type. So basically what we're trying to do is one-shot stuff by exploiting weaknesses. So for example, Darkrai EX is a very popular card that's already weak to fighting. But then you have things like Decidueye and Lurantis that are weak to fire. You have Volcanion that's weak to water. You have Mega Rayquaza and Yveltal that are weak to lightning. So between the Eeveelutions and Lycanroc's own typing, we have a lot of ways to knock out a lot of Pokemon in the format in one hit. But even if we don't have to knock them out in one hit, we're still kind of content 2-shotting everything. But if possible, we do want to exploit the metagame and take one-hit knockouts. So that's what we're playing those for. The only other attacker in this deck is going to be Tapu Lele GX. And I don't really want to call an attacker, but it's the only thing in this deck that has a backup attack in case we can't attack with Lycanrocs. So Tapu Lele GX, pretty much everything about this card is great. 170 hit points, no weakness. It has the ability Wonder Tag, so whenever you bench this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, you get search your deck for a supporter card, put it into your hand. So just like the old Jirachi EX that saw play, but this one has a lot more hit points and has a decent attack as well. So it has the attack Energy Drive, 20 damage, times the number of energy on both active Pokemon for just a DCE. So yes, this is basically Lugia EX's Airball attack. You don't apply weakness and resistance. That's, I don't know if it's too relevant. It just means you can't hit Mewtwo's for weakness or Espeon's for weakness, but it's still a very, very solid backup attack if need be. Lycanroc does take 2 energy attachments to attack. This guy only requires 1. So between its ability and its attack, it's a decent little support / backup Pokemon in this deck. And then just to round out the rest of the Pokemon, just playing 2 Shaymin just like normal for the ability setup. Draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. So moving on to our trainer cards, we're playing 4 Professor Sycamore and 3 N. You know, kind of the backbone of most decks. Just to help draw through our deck. Sycamore, discard your hand and draw 7. And N, each player shuffles their hand and their deck and draws equal to the amount of prize cards they have left. So like I said, pretty standard, nothing special. We're playing 1 Lysandre. You might be thinking, well, why are we even playing Lysandre if Lycanroc can just pick off things on its own with its ability? Well, just in case we go against something like a Garbodor or a Wobbuffet or something like that, we do want to have an alternate way to make use of this effect if possible. So we're still playing 1 just for that reason alone. And then the last support we're playing is 1 Brigette. So search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon, put them on your bench, or you can choose 1 EX. So with this, we can grab, you know, maybe an Eevee and 2 Rockruffs. And typically, Brigette has been a card that hasn't seen a lot of play, but now that Tapu Lele is in the format, I think it makes these kind of techie, you know, underutilized supporters a little bit more effective. But at the end of the day, it's decent, but I might even consider cutting this for other things. It was just kind of our first reaction. Hey, Tapu Lele's in the format, so let's try Brigette in here, see what happens. Decent card, but there might be other options we can look at in the future too. So then 4 versus Secret, just to reuse all of those different supporters we just mentioned. Let's see, 4 Trainer's Mail. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Pick a trainer card you find there, put into your hand. Just a common consistency booster. 4 Ultra Ball, just another staple. Discard 2 cards from your hand and get any Pokemon out. But we're also playing 2 Level Ball, just because there's a lot of Pokemon we really want to get out quickly in this deck. So ideally on our first turn we want at least 2 Rockruffs and 1 Eevee. That's kind of our bare minimum that we want. And sometimes with just running Ultra Ball, you might not hit all of those Pokemon. So we're playing 2 Level Ball just to increase our odds of it. And that's another reason why I'm skeptical if I want to keep playing Brigette in here, just because we do play a lot of search cards already. But anyways, so next up we have 2 Choice Band. This is a new tool card that's hopefully going to be in Guardians Rising. At the time of filming, we don't have an official set list, so it's not confirmed that this is in the set, but everyone is kind of assuming it will be. But anyway, so it's a new tool card. When it's attached to your Pokemon, they do 30 more damage to EXs and GXs. So this is good to just kind of help ensure that we can take knockouts when we want to. Certain things in the format, like the Decidueye, for example, have 240 hit points, and sometimes our Lycanrocs won't be able to two-shot them without some sort of extra boost from a Choice Band or a Strong Energy or something like that. So we're just playing that to help increase our damage output. And actually, because of Choice Band and Strong Energy, I might even consider cutting Brigette for a Kukui, because Strong Energy will boost Lycanroc up to 130, Choice Band up to 160, and then Kukui up to 180. So that could potentially allow us to take knockouts on some stuff. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here of maybe some additional changes we can make in the future. But yeah, so it's just to help ensure us to take knockouts on things, especially against Shaymins, because Shaymin does resist fighting. And like I said, we need either Strong Energy or a Choice Band in order to knock out Shaymins in one hit. So we're also playing 2 Float Stone just to give free retreat to whoever we have it attached to, pretty standard. 1 Escape Rope, just an alternate form of switching, and also it's an alternate way of switching our opponent's active. Again, just in case our opponent does have something like a Garbodor or a Wobbuffet or something like that in play, we will be able to still switch their active Pokemon if need be. Also playing one Field Blower. This is a new card from the new set. So it lets you discard up to 2 stadiums or tool cards in play. It could be yours or your opponent's. This is mainly going to be to deal with Garbodor if it's shutting off our Bloodthirsty Eyes ability, but it's also good against other things, like let's say they have a Fighting Fury Belt down, or maybe just some tool card that could be a nuisance to us. We can play that just to get rid of them. So definitely a good card. I expect to be popping up as a one-of in a lot of decks, and Lycanroc is no exception. The next up we have one Special Charge and one Super Rod, just as a form of recovery in this deck. So most of our energy in this deck is special energy, so we're playing one Special Charge to shuffle 2 of those special energies from our discard back into our deck, and then one Super Rod as well. Shuffle 3 of any combination of Pokemon or basic energy from your discard into your deck. So like if we have to discard some of our evolutions early on in the game, or something gets knocked out, we can just get them back into our deck. And then the last trainer cards we're going to be playing is just going to be 2 Silent Lab. So it shuts off abilities for both players' basic Pokemon. So usually after the first turn, maybe the second turn of the game, we used all of the abilities we really want to use as far as basic Pokemon go, since we'll probably use Shaymin or Tapu Lele on the first turn or 2. So, and this is actually something I think you can also play around with. Me and Marcus were talking about what to put in here, and I don't think there was really a stadium in particular that really felt necessary in this deck. Like you could play Parallel City maybe if you wanted to. You could maybe play the new Hilltops Stadium or whatever it's called, and Guardians Rising. So there's definitely some wiggle room there as far as what you want to put. But like I said, Silent Lab, just as our first reaction, felt like a decent inclusion here. So, and next up for our energy, we're playing 4 double Colorless energy, 4 strong energy, and then 3 fighting energy. Since all of our attackers use double Colorless energy, Lycanroc can use strong energy, and then we're just playing some additional fightings just to make sure we always have a fighting to use. But guys, that is going to be our Lycanroc GX deck profile. It's our first attempt at the deck. So as usual with all these early deck profiles, we love to hear your feedback. So let us know below in the comments if there's anything in this list you like or don't like or would change. Like I said, we would love to hear your feedback as well. And definitely stay tuned to the channel if you're new here, just because we're going to have a lot of Guardians Rising content coming out over the next week or so. So definitely stay tuned. But as usual, guys, feel free to like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch over at rarecandytcg.com. If you can pick up something to help support the channel, it'd mean a lot to us. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.